And yes, sometimes we feel that bottled water is necessary. Say you're at Glastonbury or at a beach festival, you're in the middle of a big hot field, and you just want some water. Say you don't want to give your money to Coca-Cola. Well, that isn't necessarily, you don't necessarily need bottled water in that case. For example, there is a music festival in Canada where I'm from called Hillside. Hillside is held in the middle of nowhere. It's a region of wilderness far more remote than anything you have in the United Kingdom. They managed to host this festival without any bottled water, period. You are not allowed to have it on site, you are not allowed to buy it, you're not allowed to bring it. They bring in massive canteens of filtered, fresh, clean water that they dispense for free. Everyone is given a hard wooden or metal cup that they use to get that water. You can have a music festival in the middle of nowhere without bottled water. So why on earth would you buy one if you live in a city or if you're at a school like Leeds? Why on earth would you buy it? It is the most ridiculous product in the world. And even if your money is going to charity to sponsor clean water projects in Africa, there's no guarantee that that bottle that you have bought is actually going to be recycled. Even, about, I believe it's, what's the statistic, 60%? Most plastic, about 60% doesn't get recycled, and most of the time it gets shipped to China, where it gets melted down and recycled in hazardous, terrible conditions for the people who are trying to recycle it, because it costs far more to recycle it responsibly. And yes, there are a few outstanding facilities that do recycle things responsibly and safely, but they're the exception, not the rule. So even if your money goes to charity, I would argue that it would be better just to give the money that people are using to buy that bottled water and dispense it directly to the stores, cut out the middleman, because it's a silly product, and if you continue to sell it and buy it, psychologically people continue to accept it as something that we need.
The bell doesn't work. Okay, so that's the experts. What about you guys? Anyone got anything to say? If you have, up into the middle. If you want the microphone, you can have it, but it would be really good if you were in the middle of the room and you didn't need to stand over here on the edge. But feel free to do whatever you want, and I'll be standing over here with the microphone. So, who wants to go first? Who's got something to say? Can be anything from 2 seconds to 2 minutes. Oh, is it going to be a 2-second? Here we go. What do you reckon? Do you want mine?
A report came out last Thursday in the journal Science, a US, most prestigious scientific journal in the US, that shows that the droughts of the last 20th century are going to be the norm for the 21st century. That droughts that killed hundreds of thousands of people in West Africa will become a recurrence every decade, and a lot of it is due to global warming. I'd say that a product that may be focused towards improving water in Africa is severely misguided if it looks at the bigger picture of climate change, which plastic consumption and consumption in general is part and parcel of.
Okay, so a big comment on one in particular. Anyone else?
I know I've got an Evian bottle here with me today, and so to a lot of you I probably seem like a detestable human being. I would have chosen one if it was actually in stock today. It was most disappointing when I went downstairs first thing before my first seminar to actually discover that there was only 3 bottles of Evian left and some Brecon Carrick. I don't like Brecon Carrick, but I do support one. I actually had a talk from one when I was at school. It was a great talk, and I was very pleased to learn of the projects that they're doing. I'm really worried, I think, that if the union carries out this ban on bottled water, it's got several consequences. Consumer choice is something that I personally think is very, very important. At the end of the day, 2,500 people of the union did vote that they didn't want bottled water. And that is a very small number of people in comparison to not only the whole of the union, but also people that come onto this site who aren't in any way involved in the union. Another thing is that we're going into a global recession. So we're being told every day in the media that £33,000 that we will not have as a union, where's that going to come from? That's another question that will remain unanswered if we don't have any bottled water. I think really we've got to have a really serious think about, is it the bottles that's the problem, or is it the water inside? And I think it's interesting that you raised the point that you aren't representing the industry, you're here representing a product. I mean, plastic, there's a lot of plastic out there. I don't think we're going to actually be able to stop, the plastic from being produced. And I think this, whilst a meaningful, perhaps, step towards, an ultimate goal, I don't think this is the be-all and end-all. And effectively, I think you're going to impinge on more people by removing this element of choice than you would have otherwise. Great.
Thanks very much. Big questions, big points. Who's next? Yeah.
Hi.
You want this? Yep. Speak up.
Basically, I'd just like to address one point that was brought up there. People talk about choice, and people talk about choice and freedom a lot during the course of the discussion when we have the campaign. People even use the word ban, bottled water, there's something called ban. That I'm going to get to. I think it's quite a difficult word, and I'll tell you why. The union has a choice. The union represents students. And the union can choose to buy something and sell it on, or it can choose not to buy something. It's a very straightforward, basic principle, and we haven't claimed anything different. Once someone says that someone has the right to buy bottled water from the union, what you're trying to do is impose on the freedom of the union to decide what it does. This union has made the decision that bottled water is bad for the planet, and it's not the best for students either, because it costs them money when they could be doing something for free. That union went through the proper processes, and we decided overwhelmingly that we were going to make what we felt was the right choice and not sell water to you. There's no freedom or rights involved.
Thank you very much. Who's next? Someone, yeah, that was a tentative hand up there. But do you want this? Yeah.
I just want to talk about two things. Firstly, the difference between producing and recycling, and secondly, the difference between charity and long-term political action. So firstly, talking about discussion earlier, recycling is good as well, but it's not perfect. It's quite low numbers of the waste the reason is because it takes a lot of energy to produce it. It takes a lot of energy to recycle it. In fact, it takes more energy to recycle water than it does to make a brand new water. That's not to say we shouldn't recycle our plastics, but it's to say there's something, there's a bigger problem. If we recycle everything, we're still screwed. We're still going to have a huge amount of climate change. Mankind is going to suffer immensely. We can't just recycle and think everything is okay and fine. The second thing is about charity. Charities are good. I don't want to knock charitable efforts at anyone at all. Charity is bad. But these are long-term problems. Lack of water shortage, lack of water security can get worse. We know that because we've shown by a huge amount of science. And if we don't do something, like it shouldn't be people buying water that helps people in the developing world have water. It should be governments who are supplying aid to builders. It should be governments that are paying the unfair trade regulations, which mean these countries can't pay for themselves without their own water security. These problems are far bigger than simply supplying charity. If we continue supplying charity again and again and again, until we end the overall injustice, nothing is really going to change. So, and part of that injustice, although it's not development, is the fact that in the developed world we can waste our money and we can waste our energy and resources on simply buying disposable. It's very small part of it, but it is an important part of it.
We're going to try something new. I am the ref, I still am the ref. What we're going to try is, at the end of your little speech, spiel, whatever it is, when you've had enough, you are responsible for handing the mic over, or handing the floor over to whoever's next up. So we're going to give that a shot. So, kind sir. If someone wants to indicate that they want to be next.